Hello everyone, this video is mostly a focus on the controller settings currently being used in Warframe for Steam Deck while docked. Recently, I've been playing more games on Switch and Steam Deck docked to a Surface Studio because the screen is really awesome on those devices. The need of a good controller became quickly apparent considering Steam Deck doesn't support detachable controllers like Switch does with the Joy-Con. I tried to use the Steam controller, but after so many years of not using it, the device felt too big and it lacks two of the back buttons featured on the Steam Deck. I went with the 8BitDo Pro Ultimate controller using the Switch configuration to enable Gyro aiming. It also lacks two of the back buttons featured on the Steam Deck, but it's far more comfortable to hold, has good analog sticks, and it supports Gyro aiming. This section of the video is a Warframe survival mission to upgrade a Coda shotgun. Yes, we're doing tech-rot weapons now in Warframe 1999. The targeting is performed using Gyro aiming, which allows for slight, accurate adjustments at speed, which are simply not possible with stock dual analog. I've tried various dual analog setting configurations, adjusted dead zones, no dead zones, different analog stick heights, two different Microsoft Elite controllers and a few hybrid controllers. None worked quite as well as stock dual analog with good Gyro implementation. In being fair, some of the alternatives tried aren't bad, but they weren't as good. The best implementation for speed and accuracy is still mouse and keyboard, but it's not ideal for playing comfortably on a couch. The dual touchpad design in combination with Gyro aiming on Steam Deck is a close second to mouse and keyboard in my opinion. A very close second. Dual analog and Gyro aiming comes in third, offering a viable solution with less of a learning curve but some great benefits for those that grew up on stock dual analog. What you see here are the current settings being used for Warframe 1999 on Steam Deck with the 8-bit Ultimate controller. The right analog stick is set to joystick mouse with the vertical sensitivity set to 20%. The reason for this is because it allows you to turn the camera quickly without straying from the horizontal line of sight, keeping the camera level. This also works exceptionally well when using the right touchpad to control camera movement. It's far too easy to attempt to quickly rotate the camera, but the horizontal line of sight is broken when the camera ends up looking up at the ceiling or down at the floor. Hence, vertical sensitivity set to 20% to help prevent this. Here, you can see I changed the dead zone setting from a circle to a square and adjusted the maximum output area of the analog stick. What this means is the maximum output area is the area when the movement of the camera will be fastest and how quickly it reaches that point. If you want the camera to move very quickly with less movement of the analog stick, then you want a larger deep blue area for maximum output. If you want a bit more nuance, then you want less of the deep blue area for maximum output. I prefer this setup because it gives me better control of when I have to rotate the camera horizontally without moving too fast, as well as still giving me some subtle vertical control even at 20% for those instances when it's needed. If more speed is needed to ramp up camera movement more quickly, if say, you're being attacked from behind, use Gyro by slightly rotating the controller, like a steering wheel if set to yaw or a slight tilt left or right if set to pitch, will grant that extra speed in combination with moving the right analog stick when needed. This is how you see the camera rotate so quickly in this video without losing control of targets. Or how targets are hit even when turning and shooting with speed. Gyro aiming becomes the priority in both cases, as moving the camera vertically by tilting the controller up or down is more intuitive, more nuanced, and provides better accuracy. Dual analog simply does not allow for this, as the dead zone will cause a delay in actual movement. The right analog stick does not provide nuance, so gauging movement to quickly, accurately hit a target becomes a practice in frustration, which is why auto-aim and aimbots are standard on consoles' first-person and third-person shooters. If the dead zones are removed, then the camera will never stop moving. In other words, no dead zone creates drift, which we absolutely do not want. Gyro sensitivity is explanatory. The default sensitivity settings in Steam input for Gyro aiming are too high in my opinion. I lowered the setting to 1.75. Of course, this should be changed based on your needs, and mouse sensitivity can be changed for many titles in-game. Steam input works best for me, but it's great to have options. I should also mention that the version of Gyro used in this setup is Gyro to mouse beta. Previously, Gyro as mouse was used. Both are good, but Gyro to mouse beta is better because it grants the user more customization options. Understand that some developers did not code their games to work with a mouse. Due to this, the greater control benefits of these features won't work in those games. Even in some PC versions of console games, the control bindings have to be set to feature mouse and keyboard control features exclusively, otherwise Gyro aiming simulating a mouse will not work. Setting the Gyro option to simulate an analog stick, in a word, sucks. Gyro activation or Gyro button behavior is bittersweet from my experience. When playing in portable mode on Steam Deck, this is another incredible feature. What it means is any button can be assigned to activate Gyro aiming on press. It also means that the touch pads and analog sticks can activate Gyro aiming on touch. When playing portable, I have the right touch pad assigned to activate Gyro aiming on touch, but I also have the right touch pad set to fire my main weapon when pressed. It sounds bonkers, I know, but Valve used these options in their default bindings for Counter-Strike 2. I thought it was insane initially until I tried it, and it worked so well I've been using this setup ever since. Unfortunately, to my knowledge, it cannot be replicated with any Switch controller used on Steam Deck or Steam Input in general. The reason being that Nintendo simply does not support that level of customization on Switch with their controllers. Third parties don't support that level of customization, therefore those features aren't supported with Switch controllers on Steam Deck. If I am incorrect, please let me know in the comments. Still, at least Nintendo supports Gyro. Microsoft won't support it even in their $200 Elite controller, but I digress. In the setup presented here, button activation would not be used to turn Gyro on, it would be used to turn it off, as I have Gyro set to always on. It's not ideal, but it is manageable, and frankly, it's the best we can hope for due to how Switch controllers function. Again, if I am incorrect, let me know. That feature used with a Switch controller on Steam Deck would be great. There are many different ways to customize the controls within Steam Input to really fine-tune your experience. My way is only one among many, as others have found some incredible ways to create similar results. Valve has created a way for gamers to play many of their PC games with a controller without the experience being compromised. This is something that stock dual analog has never achieved, specifically within first and third-person shooters or any game set in a 3D environment that requires the user to aim and hit a target accurately or navigate faster, with masterful camera control. I didn't touch on any of the other button arrangements or features because they are pretty straightforward for most titles. From my experience speaking with other gamers, customizing the touch pads and gyroscope caused the most confusion. Using dual analog with Gyro makes more sense for many, considering how long dual analog has been a standard. To close out this video, I added footage of Warframe being played portable using dual touch pads and Gyro aiming for comparison. You'll notice that the camera movement is a bit faster, a bit more seamless. This is specifically because the dual touchpad controls are not hampered by key limitations like analog sticks are. You can literally slide or flick your thumb across the right touchpad to whip the camera 180 degrees at incredible speed without losing control. Dual analog with Gyro can do this, but not as easily and not as fast as dual touchpads. But if dual analog with Gyro is all you have, it definitely works incredibly well, especially when compared to stock dual analog. With that being said, enjoy the rest of the video and thanks for tuning in. Feel free to like and subscribe or leave a comment if you agree or disagree. It's appreciated.
what? Their heaviest hitters are now on the way.